Hello everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk. And today, I'm really excited because I'm going to use this little guy right here to dispel the myth that 2000 Cabernets stink. Now, let me talk about vintages that get panned. To me, vintages that get panned are the equivalent of finding diamonds in the rough. It's such an opportunity for you to buy great wines at discounted prices that really, to me, if you're a serious wine drinker and you really know your stuff, that's what you should be shopping for at some level. What happens is in the wine industry, people jump on vintages, one way or the other. You might remember great things like 94, 97 Cabs, 2000 Bordeaux. We're hyping 2005 now as an industry because the wines are so great. And these wines are great, but what happens? The wineries aren't stupid. They're not here for charity. Prices go up. Well, what happens when a bad vintage comes out? When they pan the vintage? Do you think these great winemakers from Napa and Bordeaux are making terrible wine? Come on, they have 20-day forecasts now. The weather, they've got science, they've got technology. There's so many ways for them to make great wine. They can egg white it. They've got all sorts of fermentation. Go to Google, you'll figure it out. The reality is this, that in a poor vintage, the market does not buy the wine. And there's wine available for you at ridiculous discounts. We've got one here today, and I'm just going to use it as my tool to talk about today's theme, which is find wines from off vintages because you'll save yourself a lot of money. You'll normally, 9 out of 10 times, drink wine that's more approachable. Let's talk about why vintages get panned. Vintages get panned because the critics don't believe the wines will age well. You'll notice in 2002 Bordeaux or 98 and 2000 Cabernet, they'll say, nice wine but won't sell her. Drink now, 5 years. Well, guess what? Most people do that anyway. You're going to buy classics to put away in the cellar and you're going to spend a lot of money, but you need stuff to drink. And so when they say this, it's actually more in tune to what the Americans are doing. I mean, I just got back from Spain. Americans get laughed at how quickly we drink our wines. In Europe, they're drinking their 90s, their 85s, their 92s, whatever they're drinking. We're drinking our 2005s if we can help it. And that's just, the instant gratification of our society here in America. And really, that plays so well into poor vintages. When I see poor vintages from a business standpoint, I get an enormous tingle in my body. I know that I'm on the verge of putting together a deal that's going to separate us from everybody else in the marketplace. Because these wineries need somebody to buy 500, 600, 700 cases at a discount to allow them to move through, get some cash flow, and move on to the next thing. And this wine right here, a 91-point wine from Wine Spectator, the 2000 vintage of Ristau Cabernet, is maybe one of the great examples that I've had in my entire career. When I tasted this wine 3.5, 4 weeks ago before we made this deal, I pretty much was laughing at the people across from the table from me in my own mind because I knew I was onto something. Now, of course, I reacted like this. Well, it's a little light, 2000, not even buying, it's a little thin. And sure enough, just a negotiation to get you a better price. But the reality was this. This was a home run wine when I tasted it, and I'm excited to taste it again. From all hillside fruit, upper elevation, this is a small boutique winery that makes $75 retail Cabernets. They've gotten tremendous scores since basically 95, 96, so I'm sure you're probably familiar with it if you follow California wines. This Ristau is a small, limited production winery. Let's see how it tastes. As you can tell against my blue shirt, the color is pitch black. I mean, just great color. I mean, I didn't even have to really smell that. I'm doing it for the video, but this wine has been taking up the entire room. It's got tremendous complexity, great black currant, a little bit of mocha, a little bit of a licorice flavor. I mean, tremendous mouthfeel. You can't believe the structure of the tannins. I mean, wow, real dry, big complex tannin structure, long finish. I'm still tasting it. I mean, this wine will last for 10 to 20 years easy. Once again, one of those wines that fell under the radar of 2000 being a stinky vintage in Napa. I'm going to score this wine 92 points based on the enormous complexity, the long finish, and the structure. You can put this wine away for 10 years, but I'm telling you right now, you can drink this right now. It's been open for an hour, probably needs 3. I would recommend decanting. It was probably something I needed to do for this wine. But this wine is an absolute steal and something that I think is just an exciting part of the industry when you can find diamonds in the rough. And go to tastings, talk to your wine staff, talk to your sommeliers. When there's a poor vintage, don't go running away. come back. I mean, 97 red burgundies were panned, and guess what? Now I get an email a day asking if I've got any. It's all about what's going on, and sometimes momentum. One critic pans it and everybody jumps on board. Believe in your own palate. We've been singing that praise the whole time. But more importantly, today's theme, using the wonderful Ristow 2000 Cabernet, is look for those diamonds. All vintages, big opportunities. We'll see you next time on Wine Library TV.